Psychologists often note that the quietest individuals can carry the most explosive breaking points. It's one of life's paradoxes. Those who appear calm, patient, and endlessly loyal are often the very ones you should never push beyond their limit. And within this paradox exists the Sigma male, an enigma who places loyalty above everything, yet possesses the rare clarity to know when it's time to walk away. Here's the truth: Sigma males are not simply introverts or lone wolves. They are master strategists, deep thinkers, and fiercely independent men whose loyalty runs deeper than most can comprehend. They do not demand respect through empty words or posturing, but through consistent action. They move quietly, stand firmly in their independence, and remain unshakably loyal to those who treat them with dignity. But patience has its limits, even for them. The real question is, what happens when you cross that line? A Sigma male doesn't erupt in rage, nor does he waste his energy in endless arguments. His response is far more chilling, and far more effective. He doesn't broadcast his disappointment or deliver theatrical ultimatums. Instead, he shifts the entire dynamic in silence, with a precision that leaves others stunned and unsettled. And the psychology supports this. Studies on emotional intelligence show that those who internalize emotions, like the Sigma, process betrayal and disrespect in profoundly different ways. They don't combust. They transform. This isn't just a personal reaction, it's psychological warfare, played out in silence. Ask yourself this: have you ever felt the sudden, quiet shift when someone decides they're truly done? That's the Sigma male reaching his breaking point. And it's an experience you don't ever want to be on the receiving end of. For him, this isn't merely a quirk of personality. It's a survival mechanism. A method of guarding his peace and reclaiming his power. When pushed too far, his response isn't chaotic, loud, or reckless. It's deliberate, calculated, and irreversible. And if you believe he'll ever return once you've betrayed him, prepare for a harsh awakening. So what exactly happens when that line is crossed? Let's break down the profound, decisive steps a Sigma male takes when he has been pushed too far. Reason 1: the silent retreat. When a Sigma male is pushed too far, his first instinct isn't to shout, argue, or explain himself. Instead, he retreats into silence. At first glance, this silence may look like avoidance, but in reality, it is one of the most deliberate and strategic choices he can make. To the Sigma, words lose all meaning when they fall on deaf ears or are twisted by those unwilling to truly listen. He understands that trying to reason with someone who has already disrespected him is like pouring water into a broken vessel. No matter how much effort he puts in, nothing valuable remains. For him, silence is not surrender, it's preservation. It is a way to reclaim his mental energy and redirect it toward something far more worthy of his time. Unlike most people who feel the need to defend themselves or win every argument, the Sigma male doesn't operate on that battlefield. He recognizes that arguing with someone who has already made up their mind is wasted breath. Instead of lowering himself to endless back-and-forth exchanges, he chooses the higher ground, the discipline of withdrawal. Think of it like a chess game. When the board becomes chaotic, average players panic and rush into impulsive moves, but the Sigma doesn't. He takes a step back, observing every piece, every possibility, every angle. His silence is the moment he recalibrates, weighing his options with precision. This retreat gives him clarity, and from clarity comes power. But this silence carries weight. It unnerves people, because rejection through silence is far more devastating than rejection through words. When the Sigma stops speaking, it sends a signal that is impossible to ignore. He is no longer playing by the rules of engagement others depend on. His silence is not empty, it's charged with meaning. For the Sigma, silence is a reset button. It's a pause that allows him to regain emotional balance, assess the true worth of the relationship or situation, and decide if it deserves to remain in his life. He doesn't storm out with dramatic gestures. He simply withdraws, giving himself the breathing space to evaluate: is this connection strengthening me, or is it slowly draining me? What most people fail to realize is that this retreat is often the first warning sign. Many mistake it for passivity, assuming the Sigma is simply tolerating the situation or avoiding confrontation. But this is a dangerous miscalculation. His silence is not acceptance, it's observation. It's the calm before the storm, the eye of the hurricane where he quietly gathers his strength. Once a Sigma male enters this phase, it's only a matter of time before he makes a decisive move. And when he does, it won't be loud or emotional, it will be precise, permanent, and impossible to reverse. His retreat is the first chapter of a transformation, the signal that he is shifting from tolerance to resolution. Silence, for a Sigma, is not the absence of response. It is the most powerful response of all. Reason 2: the great disconnect. For a Sigma male, loyalty is not something handed out lightly, it is earned through time, trust, and consistency. Unlike most people who may spread themselves thin across shallow relationships, the Sigma chooses very carefully whom he lets into his inner circle. Once you are inside, his commitment runs deep. He will invest his time, energy, and heart into that bond, because to him, connection without depth is meaningless. But here lies the paradox: the same depth that makes his loyalty powerful also makes betrayal and disrespect cut far deeper than most realize. When he's pushed too far, whether through dishonesty, manipulation, or relentless pressure, something within him begins to shift. His second response, after retreating into silence, is not rage or confrontation. It is something far more chilling: emotional disconnection. And unlike others, this disconnection is not temporary. It's not a tactic to gain sympathy or attention. It's not about punishing anyone. It's about survival. The Sigma male views his emotional energy as sacred fuel, something not to be wasted on bonds that weaken or drain him. So when someone proves themselves unworthy of his trust, he severs that tie with surgical precision. No drama. No shouting. No need for validation. Just a quiet, almost invisible retreat of his presence. The process is devastating because of its subtlety. One day you will notice his laughter no longer fills the room. His texts that once arrived without delay suddenly stop. His voice, once a source of comfort, becomes silent. Calls go unanswered. Invitations are politely ignored. And eventually, his presence becomes a ghostly absence that lingers like a cold shadow. This great disconnect isn't done out of cruelty, it's his way of preserving inner peace. It mirrors the very essence of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Sigma takes this to heart. He cannot control betrayal or disrespect from others, but he can control his response. His response is detachment. To the outside world, this may feel heartless. But for the Sigma, it is liberation. It is the reclaiming of his inner strength and his sovereignty. And the harsh truth is this: once he disconnects, there is no turning back. His silence will be permanent, his absence irreversible. Those who once had access to his soul will find themselves locked out forever. Reason 3, the cold strategy. Once the Sigma has severed emotional ties, he doesn't linger in bitterness or wallow in grief. This is where he becomes truly formidable. He enters the phase of cold strategy, and in this stage, his mind becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. The Sigma male doesn't waste time on petty revenge or emotional outbursts. That would be too predictable, too inefficient. Instead, he redirects his energy into recalibrating his entire life with calm, surgical precision. He becomes ruthlessly focused on restructuring his world so that the people, environments, and systems that wronged him no longer have any place in it. This might mean cutting ties with a toxic partner who took his loyalty for granted, walking away from a job that exploited his skills, or leaving behind a social circle that thrived on superficiality and disrespect. Where others might lash out impulsively or cling desperately, the Sigma simply removes himself, quietly, decisively, permanently. What makes this phase so unnerving to others is its quiet ruthlessness. There are no warnings, no dramatic goodbyes, no second chances. His actions are deliberate, precise, and long-lasting. It's not just about moving on, it's about thriving in such a way that those who pushed him too far are left behind, questioning their own worth and wondering why they never saw it coming. The brilliance of the Sigma's strategy lies in his ability to turn pain into evolution. Where others might dwell endlessly on the betrayal or spiral into bitterness, he uses it as raw fuel for growth. Every setback becomes an opportunity to sharpen his skills, strengthen his mindset, and elevate his life to a higher level. Philosophically, this echoes Nietzsche's idea, that which does not kill us makes us stronger. The Sigma embodies this truth. Each betrayal, each disrespect, each disappointment becomes part of his silent transformation. He does not return to who he was, he emerges as something stronger, wiser, and even more untouchable. By the time his strategy is complete, the Sigma male has built a version of himself and his life where no one can ever push him to that breaking point again. He doesn't just survive the storm, he evolves into someone who now controls the weather. And that, more than anything else, is what makes him dangerous. Reason 4, the inner fortress, reinforcing boundaries. When a Sigma male is pushed to his limits, something profound happens within him. He begins to reinforce his inner fortress. This transformation is not loud or dramatic, but it is deeply powerful and permanent. Sigmas are naturally independent souls. They prefer to navigate life on their own terms, unbound by the expectations or demands of society. But betrayal, disrespect, or broken trust activates a deeper instinct, the need to guard their inner world with a heightened sense of vigilance. To the Sigma, this reinforcement isn't about cutting himself off from the world or building impenetrable walls. Instead, it's about constructing gates, deliberate thresholds that only those who have proven themselves worthy may pass through. Where once he might have given the benefit of the doubt, he now demands evidence of respect, loyalty, and integrity before granting deeper access to his life. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every act of disrespect becomes a lesson etched into the architecture of this fortress. He learns what he will and will not tolerate, sharpening his boundaries with each painful experience. The Sigma understands that pain, when integrated wisely, is not just suffering, it is instruction. This shift often takes those around him by surprise. They may remember the earlier version of him, the man who was patient, accommodating, and deeply loyal. But now, after being pushed too far, they find themselves standing before a far more resolute figure. He no longer entertains excuses, manipulations, or half-hearted loyalty. His tolerance for disrespect evaporates, replaced by an unwavering clarity of self-respect. What makes this transformation so striking is the Sigma's quiet firmness. His boundaries are not delivered with aggression, hostility, or endless explanation. He doesn't feel the need to justify himself. Instead, he simply enforces them with a calm but immovable resolve. If someone crosses the line, the gate closes, and there is no debate. Philosophically, this evolution aligns with the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The Sigma embodies this principle in the most literal way. By reinforcing his boundaries, he is no longer at the mercy of others' behavior. He becomes the master of his emotional world, the architect of his relationships, and the guardian of his peace. This inner fortress does not make him cold or unapproachable. Instead, it makes his loyalty and presence even more valuable. Those who are allowed inside understand they are in the company of a man who does not give his trust lightly. And because of that, his trust carries a weight, a significance, that few others can match. By reinforcing his boundaries, the Sigma male reclaims his freedom. He ensures that his loyalty can never again be taken for granted. And perhaps most importantly, he creates a life where respect is the currency of connection, and only those who honor it are allowed to remain within his circle. Reason 5, the final transformation, becoming untouchable. The ultimate response of a Sigma male who has been pushed to his breaking point is not rage, not revenge, and not desperate attempts to prove himself. Instead, it is something far more profound and irreversible: transformation. This transformation is not about simply moving on. It is about transcending. It is about taking all the pain, betrayal, and disappointment that life and people have thrown his way, and using it as raw fuel to forge something stronger, sharper, and more unshakable. When the Sigma male reaches this stage, he becomes untouchable, not in the sense that nothing can hurt him physically or emotionally, but in the sense that nothing external can destabilize his inner world anymore. He may still feel pain, he may still feel disappointment, but those feelings no longer hold power over his direction. His sense of self is so deeply rooted, so carefully cultivated, that no insult, rejection, or betrayal can pull him away from his center of gravity. This transformation unnerves people because it cannot be manipulated. A man who has nothing to prove cannot be controlled. A man who has learned to detach from drama cannot be baited into it. A man who has chosen clarity over chaos becomes an immovable force in a world built on insecurity. What makes this stage both inspiring and intimidating is that the Sigma male no longer fights battles that drain him. He chooses his conflicts carefully, and often, he chooses none at all. His silence, his absence, his calmness, these become his ultimate weapons. To those who once underestimated him, this change is a revelation. They see a man who has endured betrayal and disappointment, but instead of crumbling, he has turned that weight into armor. This final phase is not about revenge, and it's not about proving anyone wrong. It's about self-mastery. The Sigma no longer measures his worth by how others treat him or how society labels him. Instead, he measures it by his ability to remain true to his principles, regardless of the storm around him. Emerging from this transformation, the Sigma is stronger, wiser, and more focused than ever before. He does not look back in bitterness, he looks forward with clarity. He is no longer chained to the past, nor is he distracted by the need for validation. He is propelled forward by vision, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to protect his peace. This evolution sets him apart. It serves as both a warning and an example. A warning to those who once mistook his loyalty as something to exploit, because now that loyalty is gone, and once withdrawn, it cannot be bought back with apologies or empty gestures. And an example to those who observe him from afar, because his resilience demonstrates what it means to endure without breaking, to lose without collapsing, and to transform pain into strength. When you push a loyal Sigma male too far, what you witness is not revenge, it is evolution. His silence is not avoidance, it is strategy. His distance is not weakness, it is clarity. His transformation is not chaos, it is precision. He retreats when words no longer matter. He disconnects when loyalty is abused. He reinforces his boundaries when trust is broken. And finally, he transforms into someone untouchable. The most striking part of this entire process is that he does it quietly. He doesn't need an audience, he doesn't crave recognition, and he doesn't announce his rebirth. The transformation is internal, and yet its effects ripple outward, undeniable and permanent. His strength lies not in loud displays of defiance, but in his quiet commitment to protecting his soul. His power lies not in controlling others, but in refusing to let others control him. And his loyalty, once broken, is something that can never truly be restored. To those who value his presence, this transformation serves as a reminder: never mistake his patience for weakness, and never mistake his loyalty for obligation. He gives freely, but always expects respect in return. Because the moment that balance is disrupted, the Sigma male will not fight for your approval, he will fight for his peace. And once he chooses peace over you, there is no path back. If you've ever crossed paths with a Sigma male and lost his loyalty, you already know this truth: his silence is louder than most people's screams. His absence creates a void that is almost impossible to fill. Respect him, and you gain a lifelong ally. Push him too far, and you lose him forever. If you found value in this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the unique psychology of Sigma males. Share it with someone who could use this perspective, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear how you see the quiet strength of the Sigma male. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.